Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory Live. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO, and we're also on the audio side. So you can find us there as well. If you got a couple of minutes, leave a rate and review because that always helps the channel grow as well. And for everyone that's already done that, thank you so much for rocking with the show. We've been away for a little bit, Brian, but there wasn't too much that went on. But before we get into everything, we probably saw the best fight of the year this past weekend. And to be honest with you, I felt like it was one of the best fights I've seen in a very long time. Like I would put that fight on a list of like some of the greatest fights I've seen.
It's definitely the best British fight I've seen in a while because I saw some people throwing that around. I think the other one was probably Wardley, that fight.
Okay. Well, I guess I can't. I guess like the best European fight I've ever seen is like Fury and Usyk. Does that count? That's because that's not British. Because
no, it's European is right. Although this was more
British.
No, I was gonna say this was more of a brawl than that because that was like a traditional, just a high level boxing match. I don't know. I thought the fight was great. I thought that Chris Eubank Jr., who man, when I saw how he looked at the weigh-in, I was like, oh shit. Like Conor Ben actually might do this.
Yeah.
And I came away, Chris Eubank, I thought won pretty, like there were some people trying to cry robbery. Honestly, if that's a fight you thought Conor Ben got robbed, I don't know what you're looking at. And I broke it down on my YouTube channel, like the stats from the fight. They just show like, and not that the stats are always accurate, and nobody watches video, so I'm gonna promote it here. Nobody's probably gonna watch it even after I say this. But Chris Eubank Jr. was like, yo, like his stats were incredible in that fight. He landed a lot more than Conor Ben, like a lot more. Conor Ben wasn't throwing any fucking jabs at all. And I thought, both guys had to get checked out apparently after, which makes a lot of sense. And they're seemingly going to do it again because there was a rematch clause. So,
but I want to see it again too. That's the thing. I think it's one of those fights where it's like I would watch that again. That's how entertaining it was. If you missed Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Ben, please go check it out. It's one of the best fights we've seen so far this year, and I would definitely put it on a list of some of the best fights I've seen. So please go check it out because it was entertaining as hell. It was back and forth. It was a big brawl. I loved it. It was my type of fight, Brian, which I usually don't get from European fighters, but I'm always hating on that. So don't hate me. But we got a bunch of fights because it is Fatal Fury in New York, and then also just a crazy boxing weekend because Canelo's fighting, Naoya Inoue's fighting. Like, what a massive weekend. The biggest boxing weekend ever that I can remember, Brian.
Yeah, like what a big weekend to see all your favorite fighters fight in one-sided fights. This is tremendous.
Except for maybe
there's one 50-50 fight. There's one 50-50 fight.
We're gonna get
maybe
into
60-40. There's one fight out of all of these that is like, I don't know.
And it's
but
not
the
even
other ones,
even the co-main or the main though. Like
Yeah.
it's the third fight on the Fatal Fury in Times Square.
Yeah.
And so Brian, why don't we
apparently there's another fight that they added on to, like because they have I forget the Japanese dude's name, but he's making his debut. But whatever.
Okay, so you know what? Because that is probably going to be the most interesting fight. Why don't we go with the main event first, work our way down, and then we'll get to the weekend? Because I think we'll have a lot more to say on a fight. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barboza Jr. is probably going to be the closest fight and probably the most entertaining one in my opinion. But hey, we're going to break it all down for you. So let's start off New York City, Times Square. Brian, by the way, there's so much to talk about on this show. I just want to say though, like we've been kind of seeing the setup on social media and how it's going to look. And we've, gotten in.
Yeah, because they're going to tell us every detail of everything.
So so far, because you're not going to attend this because it's going to be complete madness. But your thoughts?
I also have NBA obligations that I must attend to. Somebody texted me like, "Oh, so you're Mr. I love the NBA more than boxing," and I'm like, "What? I make like that pays more. You think people make money covering boxing now in 2025? Like, okay, sure, if the ring buys you out, like maybe, and if you're one of these people who like is able to have an independent outlet where you have to post every single day, multiple times a day to funnel it. Sure. But covering boxing, you don't make shit in 2025. You fucking kidding me? So
Yeah, so if you want to help us out, donate to the show, guys. We do appreciate it. And by the way, leave your comments as well because this is an interactive show. We're going to get into all of your comments as well. So let's start off with it. Devin Haney is a minus 1,200, and he's taken on
tough.
Jose Ramirez, who's a plus 680. Brian, the last time we saw Devin Haney, he was on his ass and he had a broken jaw. And we haven't seen him fight since Ryan Garcia. And of course, Jose Ramirez just recently lost to Arnold Barboza Jr. And Jose Ramirez has kind of been on a downward trend. I'd probably say we haven't seen the same Jose Ramirez for an extremely long time. It's really unfortunate. One of my favorite fighters. How do you see this one going? And we've never seen Haney in this weight class either. Keep in mind they've moved up to 147, if I'm not
Which
mistaken.
perfectly explains why Devin Haney is the #1 ranked welterweight by the WBC, despite having never fought at welterweight. Although you may argue that he's actually fought at light heavyweight if you saw him in the Regis Prograis fight. But continue.
Exactly. So
I'm in a mood today, aren't I?
Yeah. So let's first talk about the line. Devin Haney's never fought in this weight class, but Jose Ramirez has never fought in this weight class before either.
And
at
this
welterweight.
is welterweight. Yep. This
So
is great. This is what I want to see. I want to see two super lightweight champions move up to welterweight, where one of them is inevitably going to be positioned to fight Mario Barrios for the WBC title because everyone thinks Mario Barrios is food. Even Manny Pacquiao, who's apparently like considering a comeback while people in the Philippines are tired of his politics, he's considering coming back to fight for a welterweight championship. Devin Haney's going to win this fight. Jose Ramirez hasn't been the same for a long time. You've already mentioned it. Devin Haney's going to win this fight unless he's chinny to the point where like Ryan Garcia, like that fight fucked him up bad and Jose Ramirez touches him and he goes like, bye-bye. That's the only sort of scenario here that I see. But if Devin Haney is Devin Haney, I don't think Jose Ramirez is going to do what Ryan Garcia did. But I do think to some degree we have to consider that the book is out on Devin Haney. And if you watch closely, and I just did a film study on this, that'll be posted on my channel. I revisited the Haney Garcia fight. And the thing with Devin Haney is like he makes a lot of defensive mistakes. So I've cooled down on the he's a defensively high level, whatever. Like he's good at managing range. He's good at utilizing his jab. He's a good technical boxer, but he makes more mistakes defensively than a Shakur Stevenson, to utilize one of his peers as an example.
I think the difference is between Shakur and Devin Haney in terms of being how good they are defensively. Devin takes more chances. He never used to do that, right? When you go on to Devin's early fights, he was very defensive and focused on that, but he started to take a little bit more chances. And I think we kind of saw that at the beginning of when he fought Lomachenko, and we saw that second half of that fight. Like that's when I feel like the book started to be out on Devin Haney. But yeah, he's very talented. If we're going to see the Devin Haney that we're used to from the past, he does have a nice shoulder roll, very Mayweather-like. He moves around the ring well. He has a great jab. He's going to mix it up. He's going to get to the body. The way Devin Haney boxes is beautiful. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how he looks at welterweight, and I don't know how he is mentally after that Ryan Garcia fight. He's out here trying to sue people. Like, mentally, like, where is Devin Haney? And you know what's kind of interesting is even though Jose Ramirez hasn't been Jose Ramirez, I would say, since he fought Josh Taylor. Like, I haven't seen the Jose Ramirez that I'm used to since Josh Taylor, and that was a couple of years ago. I feel like Jose Ramirez right now is more motivated than ever. He's quiet. Like, he's been hella quiet at these press conferences, and I think a lot of people are just thinking, yo, Devin Haney's going to just run over Jose Ramirez, and then we're going to get Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney too. Jose Ramirez is a very good fighter. Don't sleep on him. He's going to come forward. He's going to add a lot of pressure, and he's going to throw a lot. How is Devin Haney going to maneuver that? We know that he has good footwork, but we know that he's been getting hit a lot more than he recently has in the past. So I think Jose Ramirez will make this fight very interesting. But in the end, because it's boxing and everybody wants Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia too, Devin Haney's going to win by decision. And that's probably the smartest bet that you can take. But I wouldn't sleep on Jose Ramirez making this an interesting fight. And I think the fact that people are just sleeping on him altogether, looking past him, I think he's kind of pissed off about that. And when they had the roundtable, they kind of discussed that. And Jose Ramirez has just been quiet and focused. And sometimes that can be surprising because here's the thing, Brian, and let's touch on this quickly because I think we know how this fight's going to go. What if Devin Haney was to lose to Jose Ramirez? Like, what if we get a classic Jose Ramirez experience? Because we haven't seen Devin Haney since Ryan Garcia. Like, what if that was to happen?
Like, what if Devin Haney's Amir Khan all of a sudden? And like he could just get rocked once. Listen, there's some serious repercussions to when this happens. Like Jorge Linares used to really like taunt Devin Haney like on social media because he rocked him that one famous time at the end of a round, and Devin Haney just kind of wobbled back to his stool. He ended up winning the fight, but that fight was sneaky, also closer than people remember. And he was getting touched up in that fight. You mentioned him getting touched up. Regis Prograis didn't really touch him at all, but Vasily Lomachenko did before that. And the Vasily Lomachenko one was a fight that a lot of people thought Devin Haney lost. So some of it's worn off, but I still think he's minus 360 on points. I think that's where to look. I think if you're going to bet Jose Ramirez, you have to look at the knockout, which is at plus 950. And I think it's worth a sprinkle because it's plus 950. One, two, I think Devin Haney is going to get knocked out at some point. Like, I think he is. I don't know if it's going to be in this fight.
You think he's going to get dropped?
Yo, the Ryan Garcia, maybe it's because I just rewatched it yesterday. The Ryan Garcia fight was bad. And it wasn't even because, like, oh, Ryan's on steroids, so he overpowered him. Because Ryan, even though he did that, he makes a valid point. We're going to get to comments, so please leave them.
The left hook was landing. The left hook was landing.
Yo, a lot. Like every time he threw. And it's like, yeah, Ryan Garcia's left hook is quick, but he would telegraph when he was going to throw it too. He dropped his hand. You know what I mean? And yeah, sometimes he would blind him with like his left hand here or whatever. And he would just throw that left hook. And Devin Haney would like see it coming, but wouldn't adjust in time. He would have the wrong guard at the wrong time. He would be here and Ryan Garcia would just hit him around the guard. Like, it was just ridiculously like he would have both his hands up, move the wrong hand down, and get clipped by the left hook to the chin, like over and over and over again. And Jose Ramirez has a left hook, so
and
like,
he's got a little bit of power. He's got a little bit of pop, and we haven't seen him at 147, so he's got a little bit more weight on him. I wonder how his power is going to be. To be honest with you, I'm going to say this here right on the show. I'm rooting for Jose Ramirez. You know he's one of my favorite fighters, Brian. Come on, man.
To be fair, I think a lot of people are. Because I think Devin Haney's put off a lot of people. A lot of people think he's corny for celebrating that he got his O back. A lot of people think he's corny because he sued Ryan Garcia. A lot of people think he's corny because he tweeted that Trump is that guy, which is a weirdo thing to tweet for Devin Haney. Like, he just has a bunch of different things. Like, I didn't
even know he tweeted that. So now I'm feeling some type of way. Jose, come on now. You know what I mean? Like, and plus I kind of just, I just want to see Jose Ramirez be Jose Ramirez again. And I think maybe it's like, wishful thinking, but I would love to see him have a really good performance in this fight and see what he does at welterweight. Drop your comments.
At least half of the Fatal Fury card is MAGA.
Yeah.
Hate to let y'all know.
Oh my goodness. Maybe even a couple of people covering it as well.
The people there.
Anyways, guys, please drop your comments. Let us know how you're going to be betting Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez. If you're not betting, just let us know who you're rocking with in that fight and why.
The minus 360, by the way, is a parlay leg. You don't play that straight up unless you got a lot of money. Jay, welcome. I hope we will see at least one upset on the weekend. I think we might. I hope we do too, because that would be boring if, like, that's like a top rank card where it's like all the A sides just win. You know what I mean? You get the occasional upset, but you get what I'm saying. Duke Reagan has gotten a couple favorable decisions. We haven't seen him in a while, but if he were on a card coming up, I'd be like, oh, I'd pick against him. TJ says he's pulling a Ryan. Devin Haney is because of the MAGA tweet.
Except for Ryan was like, I was just playing around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why Devin Haney's doing that, but I don't dislike Devin Haney. I think he's extremely talented. I'm just a bigger Jose Ramirez fan, and I'll say it right here on the show. So that's who I'm rooting for.
But also, a lot of people think he's corny and justifiably so.
Yeah, I get it. I do get it, but I think he's a super talented fighter, and I've always been a fan of Devin Haney. I'm just a bigger fan of Jose Ramirez, and I'll say it here on the show. I'm rooting for him. All right, let's get to. Well, we just went to Devin
You could
Haney.
pick. We have 5 fights. We just did one. You could pick.
Let's go Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero.
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia.
The main event of this card. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ryan
For the
Garcia.
vacant regular WBA welterweight championship. No one here has fought at welterweight before. This is one of the most overrated boxing weekends ever. Because look at what we're talking about. This is the main event. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly
It'll
Romero.
be entertaining though. Like, let's be
Sure,
serious.
yes,
It'll be
it'll
entertaining.
be entertaining, but let's be serious. Rolly Romero has looked impressive when? When was the last time he actually looked impressive in the ring?
The first half of the Tank fight. I'm being honest.
No,
I
I
had him up.
know.
I had him up on the scorecards in that fight.
He's fought like 3 or 4 times since. It's a while ago.
But
You
here's
know?
the thing about Rolly, and let's get to the odds
And Ryan,
first.
and also the odds. Ryan Garcia is minus 1200. Rolly Romero is plus 680. I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah. So the one thing that Rolly Romero has is his power, and we know that he's a good puncher. But this is also just entertaining because of what these guys bring to the sport, and that's why it's the main event. Ryan is the draw. Whether you like him or not, Ryan's the draw.
Rolly's
And
kind of a draw too, low key.
Rolly is the draw, yo. And you know what? When they were doing their face off and they were playing Eye of the Tiger and Ryan was dancing, I thought it was like hilarious. And Rolly's just like, and Rolly seems like a good guy. So I think these two actually like each other, which is why it makes the fight even better. Like they actually rock with each other. And you can tell that.
They all
So,
think Rolly's silly. That's why he's like the mascot of this event.
yeah, but they love it, and you need a Rolly Romero sometimes. So Ryan Garcia minus 1200, Rolly Romero is a plus 680. Brian, are you going to be taking Ryan Garcia to knock out Rolly in this fight?
Yes. Yes. That's not great value either. That's parlay leg number 2. I have a 3-legger. We already got to Devin Haney by decision. Yeah, parlay leg number 2 is Ryan Garcia by stoppage, which right now at the book that I'm looking at is minus 350. So go get your value, I suppose. Look, Rolly Romero, he got stopped by Isaac Cruz. He got stopped by Tank. He should have gotten stopped by Ismael Barboza. It looked like it was trending in that direction before one of the most puzzling referee decisions ever by Tony Weeks, who's a good referee, a very good referee. It's just, I don't know. Like, that was just weird, but whatever. Rolly Romero hasn't looked impressive. You said since the first half of the Tank fight. There was only half of the Tank fight because it was 6 rounds, but I know what you mean. It was just like early on there. He was up on the scorecards according to some people, according to one judge, and according to you. And I did think he looked good in that, but also Tank, not the fastest starter in the world. That may be underselling it. The last complete fight, like start to finish, that he looked impressive and was probably before that against an overweight Anthony Yiggett, where he stopped him in 7 rounds. I don't think he looked like amazing and unbeatable, but you saw the explosiveness, you saw the power, you saw the ability, and you saw like, oh, okay, he could maybe make a fight with Tank interesting until he gets knocked out, which is exactly what happened. So I think Ryan Garcia. Now, the interesting thing about this is it does hinge upon Ryan Garcia being right, whatever that means. So we don't know how Ryan Garcia is going to show up, but we did this last time and we saw what happened. So I'm going to back Ryan Garcia here. Dangerous business, but against Rolly Romero, who, I mean, I don't know why he's in a welterweight division, but I mean, okay, like it is what it is. Also, there's a very funny video out of Ryan Garcia imitating Rolly Romero and the way he hits the heavy bag. It's really funny. I might try to find it as you make your point, but that's where I'm at with this fight.
And I asked that, that was my first question. Are you taking Ryan Garcia to get the knockout here against Rolly Romero? Rolly has been, didn't have the best couple of fights. And then you talked about that Ismael Barroso fight. There's just so much going on with Rolly, but he still has the power. So I think they're going to make this a little bit interesting. I think Rolly might have some moments. And I think this fight is not only set up for Ryan Garcia to be entertaining, but also to get the knockout, have a good performance. Then they put together the Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia 2 fight. And I think because Rolly has been knocked out recently, he is chinny at this point, and I think Ryan's going to show off his power. There's not much more I'm going to say about this. I'm going to be honest. They're both entertaining. Rolly is a draw as well, and he has the power. You never know. Like, he could land on Ryan. We could see a different Rolly Romero. Also, let us know how are you going to be betting this fight, and also who are you betting on? Let's go over quickly to a good friend of our show, Jesus. Brian, are you attending the garbage Times Square card?
No, but later that night we're planning on having a post-fight show. It'll be late because I work late, and I'd rather do that than go to that whatever the fuck that's going to be circus. And we'd rather do a post-fight show. So
Yes.
because they're not going to be very media friendly over there. If you like, people are going to go there and get content, so to speak. But unless you're you're not going to get shit. You'll just be filming the fighters like everyone else. It's open to the public. I'm not going to have my fucking laptop out in the middle of Times Square at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I got to walk back through everybody to try to get to the train. Like, no, I know New York City's not what it was in the 80s, but you still gotta be careful out here. But also, again, I work. Let's pull up. Let's see if I can do this real quick. You talk, and I'm gonna figure this out.
But, all right. Well, while Bryan is figuring this out, like I was saying, drop your comments. I do want to say this one thing about Ryan Garcia is we've kind of seen a different Ryan Garcia lately in terms of how he's handling himself, and he seems like he's matured. And so I like this version of Ryan Garcia. So I think he's going to try to put on a very good performance. All right, play this. You found it. Is this him intimidating Rolly?
Intimidating is not the word I would use. Ryan Garcia doing his Rolly Romero impersonation on the heavy bag. Make sure this has the audio because you need the audio for this. This is courtesy of Ring Magazine. You hear the noises?
Oh my god.
If you've seen Rolly hit a heavy bag, he kind of does make that noise. And then there was this. This is great. This is hilarious. This is courtesy of The Zone.
I know you better than you know you at this point. I know everything about you, and you know that.
Why would I know? How?
I know everything about you.
Do you?
I truly do.
That sounds like you're in love with me. Are you in love with me?
On May 2nd, live.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was really funny.
So the teasers are funny. But it's like, it's just the heavy bag thing. I'm gonna be thinking about that the entire fight. Because when Rolly actually tries to unleash on him or whatever, that, by the way, of the Fatal Fury fights, that would be the biggest stunner for me. If Rolly Romero,
yes,
that'll be the one for me.
If Rolly still has the power, right?
Because if Jose knocks out Devin Haney, I'll be like, well, Devin Haney's chin is gone. Like, this is what we
I don't know.
suspected.
I think that's a big, massive upset though too, because no one's really talking about Jose.
Jose Romero, all due respect to Rolly Romero, but like, all right, look, if Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia win, go do Jose Ramirez and Rolly Romero and see what the odds are.
Ooh, that's actually an interesting fight. I would watch that fight.
I'm taking Jose Ramirez
100%. Like, I'm gonna even sprinkle on Jose against Devin Haney just because I got to. I'm looking at the odds and I have to do it because Jose seems more motivated than ever. Drop your comments, guys. How are you betting Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero? And of course, let us know what you think about his impersonation of Rolly Romero as well. All right, we got to get to the best fight of the night.
Should I get a Rolly Romero heavy bag video to compare?
Chat? You should do it. You should do it.
All right.
All right. So we got to get to the biggest and best fight of the night on this card. And, I'm not actually mad at the odds. If I'm taking a look at the line, Teofimo Lopez is a -260 and Arnold Barboza Jr. is a +194. Bryan, I know you're laughing right now, but would you say that the odds for this are the line? Would you kind of agree with it? Or do you feel like Arnold's being a little bit slept on?
Okay, I think Arnold Barboza is being slept on. However, I found the video of Rolly Romero hitting the heavy bag. And it sounds very similar to what we heard Ryan Garcia do. Hold on. Let's see if we could do this right now. So this is Rolly Romero hitting the heavy bag. This is courtesy of Fight Hub TV. Granted, this is from 2023, but I'm sure he makes the same noises now. Listen. Yo, Ryan nailed it. Like
he definitely did. But also keep in mind when you're like throwing how to learn how to jab and punch and use your power, like you're also learning how to breathe. And so early on, a lot of amateur fighters, like they sound like that. You hear it, right? So
yeah,
and Rolly hasn't Yeah, but Rolly hasn't been boxing for a long time. I think he started when he was like 16, 17. I think he's only like 26 now, is he not?
This is after the Tank fight.
Is it really? Okay. But
Yeah.
still, like, he's still using those like amateur things, but it is funny, yeah.
Ryan nailed it. Ryan nailed it. That's courtesy of Fight Hub TV. Anyway, okay, so I'm betting on Arnold Barboza to upset Teofimo Lopez.
And how are you doing this and why? Like, by decision, I'm guessing.
By decision, yes, at plus 280. Not a big bet, but I think this is the upset that could happen this weekend more than any of the others. Teofimo Lopez, we talked about this. He has 5 fights in this weight class. Pedro Campa, he did what he had to do. Sandor Martin, questionable decision. You had, and by the way, Rolly Romero is 29.
Okay, so he got sneakily old really quick.
Low key, yeah. I feel like he was just 24. This is crazy. Yeah. He also acts very young. He will be 30 at some point this year. It doesn't say when his birthday is, but it says he was born in 1995.
Okay.
Wow. Rolly's gonna be 30.
I didn't know. I thought he was like a little bit younger, but okay.
Jeez. All right. Anyway.
Thanks, guys. Jesus and TJ also commented that Rolly's is 30 and Rolly 29.
Okay. Arnold Barboza. Here's the thing. Teofimo Lopez. So he has Sandor Martin after the Pedro Campa fight. Sandor Martin, he struggled. He got knocked down. Some people think he lost that fight. I had him winning by a point, but I think if he lost that fight, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I don't think that's unfair. After that, he fought. That was Josh Taylor. That was his most impressive performance. Have we kind of overstated that since? Perhaps because Josh Taylor was honestly one of the weaker undisputed champions we've ever had. And also somebody who I'm just letting it fly today. And also somebody who has he was over a year out of the ring. Going into that, I was like, man, I don't know about Teofimo Lopez. He didn't look great in the Josh Taylor fight. I mean, in the Sandor Martin fight, and Josh Taylor, looked all right last time we saw him. Although not last time we saw him, because before that was Jack Catterall, and he should have lost that fight. That was the other thing. Like, Jack Catterall should have been the undisputed champion. We were supposed to get that rematch forever. And then since then, he beat Jermaine Ortiz. Teofimo Lopez did. That was one of the worst fights of the year. That was when Rolly Romero was calling him Takeover Thursday in an interview that we had with him. And Teofimo Lopez then beat Steve Claggett, who, with all due respect to the Canadian superhero, probably shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. So there's one stoppage win, and it was against Pedro Campa in this weight class. There are 5 wins, 4 decisions, 2 debatable decisions. And other than Josh Taylor, they were all underwhelming Teofimo Lopez performances. So I'm taking that to the Arnold Barboza fight. And what does Arnold Barboza do really well? He moves around the ring. He counterpunches. He's fast, lateral quickness, lateral speed, lateral movement. He's smart. He's patient, and he can throw punches and bunches. Jermaine Ortiz and Sandor Martin don't do all of those things. And that's why, while they made Teofimo Lopez struggle, they just did it with their movement and occasional counterpunching. Arnold Barboza is going to take more chances. So you may get hit a little bit more, but Arnold Barboza, he has the formula to actually beat a Teofimo Lopez, I think. And Arnold Barboza, I know he's going to be super focused. Teofimo Lopez, I mean, he should be. I would think he is. He looks like he's going to be, but I mean, I think Arnold Barboza could absolutely win this fight. I just think it has to be by decision, and I do worry about him potentially getting robbed if that's the case.
So I think there's 3 ways this fight could go, which is kind of crazy. Number 1, we see one of the best performances that Teofimo Lopez has had since Josh Taylor, because I do think he looks ready. If you look at Teo's body, he is focused, and he's also trying to sell the fight. This is probably arguably the biggest card he's ever been on, which is kind of crazy because he headlines and he's not even the headliner for this, right? This is also the most important fight, I think, for Teofimo Lopez in the last 3 years. Because
that's a great point.
For Josh Taylor, remember, he was dealing with a lot of injuries, but at the same time, one of the weaker undisputed champions. I agree. Now, either Teofimo Lopez has one of the best performances of his career. Arnold Barboza shocks the world, beats Teofimo by decision, because as Brian mentioned, He's a very technical boxer. He's very skilled. He's going to work the jab. He's going to counterpunch. He's going to move around the ring well. And if there are adjustments he's going to make, Arnold Barboza will make those adjustments in the fight. Right? He's trained by his dad, and you could see how laser focused they are for this fight. Arnold wants it bad, and he hates him. Like these two, like Teo plays and he jokes a lot, but I don't think Arnold really rocks with him at all. And there was also, the beef between the dads, right? Teofimo Lopez, the seniors were getting into this like years ago when this fight was supposed to happen, when they were both at Top Rank. So there's that. And the third thing that could potentially happen is that Arnold Barboza gets robbed because he's fighting Teofimo Lopez. Those are the three things that could happen in this fight. Now, depending on what Teofimo Lopez we get, because Teofimo Lopez also good counterpuncher, has a good jab, and he has the power. I think Teofimo Lopez is going to come focused into this fight, but I think Arnold Barboza Jr. is going to be able to be the tactician that he is, land on him, move around the ring, and he's going to get those points. However, I feel like Arnold is possibly going to get robbed. He didn't get robbed against Jack Catterall in Jack Catterall's backyard.
He almost did.
Right. He almost did, but he didn't. And that's important because Jack Catterall is that guy where he's from. And he didn't get robbed in his back, like in Jack Catterall's backyard. I think that says a lot. Like if that's not going to give you some type of motivation or a momentum, I don't know what will. Like that's got to give Arnold Barboza Jr. confidence for this fight. I just feel like because it's in New York and because it's Teofimo Lopez, that Arnold is going to have to fight perfect in this fight. And I think he can, but I still think boxing will get in the way. So I will place money on Arnold Barboza Jr. to win by decision because I don't think he has the power to knock out Teofimo Lopez. Like he's going to get the points. He's going to move around the ring well. He's going to land. He throws punches and bunches like Brian says. And so I think on the cards, he'll be up. On my cards, he definitely will. Because also, I feel like sometimes Teo doesn't throw enough sometimes.
Agree.
And so that's going to be kind of the difference. And Arnold has the speed. I think Arnold Barboza Jr. will win by decision. But I think the cards will say Teofimo Lopez won. That's how I think this fight is going to go. And if you don't like that breakdown, I don't know what to tell you. There's going to be a robbery in this fight. It's going to be this fight. And this is probably going to be the most entertaining fight. And here's the thing. I think Teo has to get started early. Like we see Teo sometimes kind of like wait for, the right placement and the right shots. But against a guy like Barboza, who's going to get started early, he's going to try to establish the jab early. Teo has to get started early and he has to throw more. And sometimes we don't see that from Teo. He also takes off rounds. Like you can't take off a round against Arnold Barboza Jr. that's going into the ring trying to beat your ass in every round. So mentality-wise, Teo seems focused. And I think if he was to put on the best performance of his career, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it's more likely because we've seen the rise of Arnold Barboza Jr., who's also undefeated, by the way. We've seen the rise of him, and also he has all the confidence. I think Barboza gets it done, but I'm praying to God he does not get robbed. And Jesus says right here, Arnold Jose may get robbed. And those are the two guys I'm going for in both of these fights.
The only thing I would say is like with Teofimo Lopez, because people say like the George Kambosos fight was kind of a one-off thing. And it's like, he's done that multiple times now. Like the Sandor Martin fight is still, it's the same. It's not the same stylistically, but it's the same kind of letdown. Or the Jermaine Ortiz fight, if Jermaine Ortiz threw more at all.
How would that have looked? Like, how would that have gone? Also, like, I hate to say it, and listen, I'm not trying to hate on, the Canadian guy, Steve Claggett. I would not do that. But he should have dropped Steve Claggett, and he should have.
That's the other thing.
You know what I mean?
He
like,
didn't stop Steve Claggett. And look, Steve Claggett's a tough dude. He only got stopped once.
But skill wise, Teo's so talented, dude.
I rewatched the fight too, and Steve Claggett, like he was getting popped by a lot of uppercuts. He was still coming forward, so credit to him. But Teofimo Lopez was very much treating that like a sparring session, which I mean, look, that's prerogative, whatever.
Jesus, Turkish, doesn't even call him Turkish, really wants Haney and Ryan. And we've seen Turk card robberies. Yeah, I forget like what fight it was.
Him?
Yo,
Never.
I forget what card it was. I think it was Dmitry Bivol and Better Biev, and he was like, "You're down on the cards." Like, why is that happening?
If y'all,
Like,
if y'all thought boxing was corrupt before this dude came into the fold, just wait until TKO gets off the ground.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
wait.
And then the WBA is gonna be like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah,
Because like the WBA is so
we got
corrupt, man.
We got a gold champion, a regular champion, and a super champion. The WBC has a diamond champion. You know
I
what
wonder if
mean?
I'm gonna like TKO. I'm not gonna lie. I wonder if I'm gonna like it.
I'm probably not. Based on who's running it,
We'll see.
I'm probably not.
Let us see. Now, let us know, guys, who you have for this fight as well.
They feel
Teofimo
very.
Lopez.
They feel very evil empire-ish. And the last thing I'll say about this fight is like Arnold Barboza. People will throw the Sean McComb performance at him, and I think he probably should have lost that fight. But he has rebounded with wins over Jose Ramirez and Jack Catterall, so I think he's compensated for that. And Sean McComb should get back in the ring. He hasn't fought since then, and it's been a year plus at this point. So like I don't know. I don't know what goes into the inactivity with some of these dudes, but I feel like you'd want to build off a performance after that. So that's that card. We have other stuff to get to. So let's do that because we have also fights, not just in this regard.
Wait, before you do that,
yeah,
drop your comments because I think this fight is extremely interesting. Yeah. Let us know if you're going to rock with Teofimo Lopez or Arnold Barboza Jr. and how you see the fight going. We will read your comments. If you don't get to them on this show and you're watching this later, well, we see them. So don't worry. Sometimes we don't comment back all the time, but we read all your comments, guys.
TJ says Haney and Ryan have to win. I think Haney said there's a rematch clause in one video I was watching. Haney and Ryan are going to fight each other again. It's going to happen. I don't know what. Now, here's the thing. It might be for a welterweight title. It might not be. We have to remember Jerome Boutsenis has a mandatory situation where Shakram Giyasov is going to fight him next. And then the winner of Ryan versus Rolly is supposed to fight him. But I don't know. I think Ryan versus Haney at some point. If I'm Boots, by the way, I'm staying at welterweight because I'm getting that money fight with Ryan Garcia.
Yeah,
or Devin Haney.
There's definitely some interesting fights to make now at welterweight with these guys moving up. All right, let's get to Canelo weekend.
Duh.
We got to talk about it just a little bit. Canelo Alvarez taking on William Skull, and the lines seem about right. Canelo Alvarez a minus 3,000. William Skull is a plus 1360. Brian, is Canelo going to finally get a knockout?
I don't know. To be honest with you, William Skull is not as bad as people think, but he's not Osles Iglesias, I don't even think. In terms of Cuban super middleweights. I don't think he's David Morrell, former Cuban super middleweight, but he's not bad. But like Canelo Alvarez hasn't got a knockout in almost 4 years. Caleb Plant was the last one. I think if you want to say Canelo Alvarez is past his prime, Jesus definitely will. I think Canelo Alvarez, I think in his prime, Canelo Alvarez stops Edgar Berlanga, stops Jaime Munguia. And I don't know if that guy currently exists in year 20. Like, it's also unreasonable to think in his mid-30s, turning 35 soon, I believe, and 20 years into his pro career, that he's still going to be doing this at the highest of highest levels. I think there's a reason he doesn't want to fight David Benavidez. And I think it's because David Benavidez would beat him. And I think with William Skull, it's a safer fight against a dude who's the weakest champion and the only other champion really in that weight class to bring the undisputed championships to the Terrence Crawford fight, to fight a dude who's multiple weight classes smaller than you, a fight that he could lose, but it's Terrence Crawford. So like this is going to sound bad, but from a sheer size and power standpoint, Terrence Crawford's a safer fight than Dave Benavidez. I don't think Dave Benavidez is nearly the pound for pound fighter that Terrence Crawford is. And I think Terrence Crawford's an all-time great. Dave Benavidez, he may be, but he isn't right now. But also for Canelo Alvarez, Dave Benavidez is a big dude at like even at light heavyweight, he's somebody who probably rehydrates close to 200, like 190 something or whatever it is. Whereas Terrence Crawford, like I don't care how many times he shows us that he's walking around at 187. He's not like he's fought at 135 and 140 and 147. Now recently 154 just one time. So it's different. And also, I think money wise, Terrence Crawford is a bigger fight, obviously, than David Benavidez for the time being. So
Canelo and Bud, that was a dream fight for me at one point. We were talking about it last year, and I was like, I wish we get it. And we are going to be getting supposedly in September. So this is a tune-up fight for Canelo Alvarez and William Skull. He's undefeated. He's never been beaten before, but he's also like 32 years old. He is Cuban though. So as you know, Cuban fighters, they start to become pro a little bit later. But I think this is a tune-up fight. I think William Skull, he is a technical fighter. He has a good jab, but against Canelo Alvarez, who also has one of the best jabs, I feel like Jesus is going to hate me. He likes to get to the body. He moves around the ring well. This is just going to be an all-out perfect performance by Canelo Alvarez. I don't think he loses a round, and I think he wins by decision. And if he's like beaten up on William Skull a little bit too much, which I don't expect it, possibly, maybe he wins by stoppage. But I think this is a fight that will be a tune-up fight for Canelo, and he's going to use this to get ready, obviously, for Terrence Crawford. But also, like, isn't this a mandatory? This is a mandatory, if I'm not mistaken.
Somebody wants this. I took Canelo by points as well, but plus 180, I believe that was. That's not a super confident play because, listen, William Skull, if he gets stopped in round 9, it'd be like, okay. The over-under is 9.5 rounds. By the way, for what it's worth.
If he does get stopped, it's going to be in rounds 9 through 12. That's
I think it's going to be late. This is the first fight of Canelo Alvarez's 4-fight deal with the Saudis, which he said he wouldn't do and then did. So let's bring this back. One of the great videos that we've played on this show of Jake Paul and his reaction to apparently ducking Jake Paul and cursing out Canelo Alvarez, which I know people don't like Jake Paul, and I'm not saying I do, but if it's him versus the Saudis, I mean, it'll be interesting to watch.
Oh, Canelo, you puta.
This fucking YouTuber. I just fight real fighters.
Time to expose them. So we had a signed contract to fight. Here you can see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right. Claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. Bullshit. Look at the poster. We were announcing Tuesday, February 11th. Claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benavidez, you bitch. The truth is you can be bought. You're a money-hungry squirrel chasing your next nut. The truth is these sports-washing shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening because they couldn't fathom the fact that they can't create a bigger fight than me and you. Al Heyman has made you hundreds of millions of dollars and you turned your back on him for this check.
Real quick, I will say this. Canelo versus Jake Paul is a much bigger fight than Canelo versus William Skull.
100%. But I didn't like how he said Bud was a 135-pounder. Come on, Jake.
I mean, he
was like years ago, Brian. Yeah. Like, come on, man. That's over a decade ago. Stop it.
Like, I get it. He's trying, like,
I get what he's doing, but I'm just like, come on, you sound stupid. You sound stupid saying that. Come on.
It's a thing. But still.
Disloyal. And you were begging to do this fight on pay-per-view. But I have loyalty. Loyalty to Netflix, doing the biggest numbers. And you call me a YouTuber, but you've never had a boxing match as big as mine. Remember you told my team that your daughter came home and asked if you were fighting Jake Paul? She was all excited. You said that was the first time your daughter's ever asked you about a fight. And you're screwing over all your Mexican fans by doing your fights in Saudi.
He's not wrong about that. He's not wrong about that.
Listen, tell it to Oscar De La Hoya, who put together Latino Night in Saudi Arabia, main evented by Arnold Barboza Jr. and Jose Ramirez, 2 Mexican Americans in noted Mexican American hotbed Saudi Arabia.
Just shows what type of person you are. And I promise you one thing, Canelo. Any fight that you do this year, mine will be bigger. So go fuck off to your boss, you Ring Magazine employee, you pink and orange bitch. And fix that herpes on your lip, you dirty puta.
Oh my God. Oh my, he did have a herpes on his lip. Oh my God. I mean, it's a cold sore, but whatever.
That video will be killing me, bro. Oh my goodness. I love using screen share on this shit. Anyway, okay. So we have no, and I don't think Jake Paul, TJ, I agree. I don't think Jake Paul's ready for Canelo. I think he's ready promotionally.
Right, yeah, that was a great promotion. Really quickly though, Foxy told us, yo, I'm going to be attending Conor Ben and Chris Eubank Jr. Foxy says, morning, afternoon, everyone. Ben and Eubank was the best event I've ever been to. I loved it. I love the violins. Like that shit was gangsta.
The entrances were amazing.
Loved it
on TV. Foxy, how were they live? We talked about this earlier. We both said it's a fight. It's the fight of the year so far, and we both had Chris Eubank Jr. winning, and we both want to see the rematch. And we both hope that they're okay because that looked brutal.
Yeah,
honestly.
it was a great brawl.
And I didn't mention this. Seeing Chris Eubank reunite with his father, even after all the shit Chris Eubank Sr. said, that was cool too. That was nice to see. Okay, so I guess we'll wrap on Inoue.
Yeah, when there's not much to say about this fight, I feel
want to talk about? Look at these odds.
Naoya Inoue is a minus 8,000, and Ramon Cardenas is a plus 1,600. Ramon Cardenas been knocked out before, if I'm not mistaken, but he's been on a little bit of a tear. He's been winning, but against a guy like Naoya Inoue, can he get it done?
No.
Is this under 6? is this under 6, Brian?
When was Ramon Cardenas the last time he got knocked out? Let's see. I think people were disappointed.
It was a while ago. It was a while ago.
People were disappointed by this opposition too. He hasn't been knocked out before. He's been dropped, I think. He was lost by decision against Danny Flor. Oh, okay. It was one of them tough Mexican dudes who has like a journeyman record but could actually catch you slipping. Mexico has a lot of these dudes who are like 14-6, 16-10 that they've knocked out like guys at the level of Isaac Cruz. You know what I mean? Like they've beaten guys like that. Like if you look at some of the fights for like the Mexican national championship or whatever, like this is really, really deep in the weeds here. Like even Isaac Cruz. So he was 5-0. His first loss was to Luis Montano Alvarez. Yeah, might be Montano, who was 10-5, who has fought for also the Mexican championship, and I forget if it was lightweight or super featherweight. No, it was super featherweight, and lost to Edwin De Los Santos. Got knocked out by him a few years ago. Okay, Naoya Inoue is probably going to beat the shit out of Ramon Cardenas, and Ramon Cardenas, with all due respect, because he's been on a very good winning streak. He beat Brian Acosta last time out in February, but as long as Naoya Inoue is Naoya Inoue, like I don't think this is going to be that close. Ye Jun Kim was a replacement opponent because they couldn't get the Sam Goodman fight off the ground because Sam Goodman couldn't stop getting cut. TJ Delaney was kind of a meh opponent as well. Luis Neri, I think, was like a banger opponent. Like that was a really good win, and I think Luis Neri could still become a champion. And Marlon Tapales was obviously like people want fucking Akhmadaliev, and it's like Marlon Tapales earned the opportunity. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and you mentioned the TJ Doheny one. TJ Doheny is extremely tough. The Luis Neri one, that one to me, remember, he dropped in that fight because he had that power. That's not going to happen in this fight. I think we've seen Ramon Cardenas before, but when we talk about skill level, Inoue is going to do his thing. He's going to throw the jab. He's going to get to the body, and I think he could end this one in a liver shot. And I think this one could be between rounds 1 through 6. I would look at value there, but I think this one might be a lot quicker than people think.
Wasn't this supposed to be the Alan Picasso fight?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm looking at all of his mandatories now, like all of the number one contenders for all of the governing bodies. So the IBF is Sam Goodman. Maybe we still get that in the future if Sam Goodman could stop getting cut. Cardenas is number one contender according to the WBA. Alan Picasso is number one to the WBC, and Carl Martin for the WBO is the number one contender. And this is relevant because, like, if you're undisputed, you have to constantly fight usually the number one contender and one of these, like, whoever wants it, like whoever you're mandated to fight. And sometimes you could be in a position where it's like you have multiple guys and you have to make a decision. Carl Martin is a Filipino, 25-0, 20 knockouts. I haven't seen a ton of him. His last couple fights were in Mexico. He hasn't beaten anyone that like a casual fan has heard of. But he has some power. He's Filipino, and if you put him against Naoya Inoue in the Tokyo Dome, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fans that pop out to that. So I could see that being next, actually.
That's the one that we want to see, right? But we want to see
No, you want
Shantelle.
Akudaliev.
No, I think we want to see Nakatani in
Oh.
Inoue. That's the one we want to see, and then hopefully we'll get the Inoue and Bam Rodriguez later on in the future. But I think that Inoue has, look at his resume, and I think the Luis Neri one was probably the most entertaining one for me. But this one, he's going to have a good performance in this one where we're going to be like, man, who's going to be Inoue?
Where's Akudaliev in the rankings? Is he not even?
Is he even ranked at this point? No, he must be ranked, but I mean, he's not in the top 5.
I'm not seeing him at all. They can't be classifying him as a featherweight now, are they?
They might be.
But he hasn't fought at featherweight. I'm not seeing his name at all.
Hey, Devin Haney hasn't either, but apparently he's the number 1 contender. So
You know
anything
what?
can happen. Check the WBA. Actually, I don't even think that BoxRec even looks at the WBA, but he might.
No, the boxing scene always has the rankings. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now I know. Akudaliev, I forgot he has the interim title for the WBA. Thank you for telling me.
There you go, the WBA. Exactly what we were thinking. By the way, guys, let us know how you're
Inoue's
going to
have
this
to fight
fight.
him at some point. There it is.
Let us know how you're going to be betting this fight. Drop your comments below. And do you think Inoue gets the knockout in the first 6 rounds or in the middle of the fight? And if you're rocking with Ramon Cardenas and we're sleeping on him, let us know. Drop your comments. Brian, any final thoughts before we get out of here? Let's read a couple of comments before we go.
Yeah, I think a lot of these fights are going to be one-sided.
All right. Wonton Min, Bam ain't ready for Inoue. Not yet, but I think at one point that's going to be like a blockbuster fight.
Who is? If Bam isn't,
Nakatani.
if Bam isn't, nobody is.
Bam,
Nakatani.
Bam next fight is in July. Is it in San Antonio, TJ? Let me know.
Yeah, reportedly.
It is in San Antonio?
I don't think they're gonna do Bam Inoue next. I think Inoue fights Nakatani before he fights Bam.
He has to fight Nakatani. They have to do that in Japan. Like that. That's blockbuster. It's gonna make a lot of money. I don't see how you don't have that as Inoue's next fight. But I do think we do get Bam and Inoue. But I agree. Like we got to see more from Bam. Let's go.
I don't know if we get Bam and Inoue because Bam has to come back up. And then
It's going to be a few years. It's going to be like 2 years at least.
Inoue's probably going to go to featherweight at some point. Hopefully.
I mean, that's where you cap off because I don't think he goes to 130, dude.
Foxy says Eubank Jr. entrance probably in my top 5 of all time. Yeah, it looked great on TV. Don't want to see immediate rematch though. Those type of fights take a lot from a fighter. Yeah, I got nervous when I started seeing, this might happen in September, and I'm like, I mean, that's a while, but like I agree. I kind of almost want to see both of them go in different directions first. Jesus asks, Brian, who is the buzz for Times Square card? So are you asking like,
what are people most hype about?
I don't know.
What's the buzz like around the city or Times Square?
Jalen Brunson.
Oh, that's the buzz around the city.
The Knicks.
Okay.
People in this city don't give a shit about the Times Square card like that. Like I know the Saudis and Ring Magazine and DAZN will act like all of New York cares about this, but like they're all going to Knicks games.
Yeah, I mean
they're going to Met games, they're going to Yankee games, they're eating outside because it's nice out. You know what I mean? I'm sure there will be people there for the Times Square card, and they're gonna fluff the number because what's gonna happen is they're gonna be like, oh, there was this many people in attendance, quote unquote, even though like the setup of it is not gonna be something you attend. It's like they're gonna count even passersby walking around like, who the fuck is that? And why is there a boxing ring in the middle of Times Square? There's people in this city who are gonna be there and not know what the fuck is going on. Like I look, the boxing fans from New York, of which there are a lot, they'll be there. They'll go there, especially because apparently it's free.
Which is going to be wild, dude. And I wonder how security will be. But nonetheless, it's going to look good on TV. Let's just say that. But if you are going to be at the fight and you experience it, drop your comments. Wonton Min also, we're tired of hearing Casemiro and Inoue. Any thoughts? Well, here's the thing is that I think everyone at one point wanted to see Inoue and Casemiro. There's bad blood there. Storylines, I think, could be really good. But at this point, I think Casemiro is past his prime, and Inoue, that's another guy that he bodies. but I think there's a lot of Casemiro fans that are going to get on me right now, okay, because I know how you guys go. But I would still like to see that fight, and I've said that because there is the bad blood there, so I like the storylines.
Casemiro didn't make weight for his last fight either, so
That's what we're saying.
I think Inoue has to just be like. Here's the thing: I don't think he's going to fight somebody who isn't a champion or number one in his weight class. So unless Casemiro is going to become that all of a sudden, then no. I think it's more like maybe we finally get Akhmadaliev. Maybe the WBA is like, hey, Inoue, you have to fight the interim champion and for the WBA now.
We need to see it, and I think he needs to fight Akhmadaliev before he moves up. When he moves up, there's some interesting fights, but give us the Akhmadaliev fight before he moves up.
And Nakatani, because that would be at
Yes.
122.
Yes, we need the Nakatani fight as well. Big show, big boxing weekend. We are going to be having a post-fight show after. This is going to be a little bit later, probably past midnight on the East Coast, Brian.
Yeah, it's going to be late. I work till midnight, guys, so we're trying to go live at midnight. The card may be over by then, the Times Square card. Like I think I saw that it may start
early. It starts early.
It may start at like 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be live immediately after the final though, which I know that's not ideal, but we'll still do a live. Just that you're up against the NBA playoffs. Like, what do you want me to do? They're like
also, guys, I'm excited because there was a possibility where we weren't going to have any post-fight shows, but it looks like we're going to have a post-fight show Friday night, a post-fight show for Canelo.
Yes, Saturday.
And William Skull. And then on Monday, we're going to recap Inoue and Cardenas. So we got a bunch of live shows coming for you guys. So keep that in mind. Come rock out with us late Friday night if you're on the East Coast. On Friday, it's you know what? There might still be some NBA on, actually.
I was going to say one thing.
During that time. So
one thing to keep in mind. If the Knicks fuck around and lose game 6,
which they shouldn't,
the post-fight show will be in jeopardy because I will have to do Knicks game 7 from the New York Post studios.
Well, here's the thing, guys. If it's a game 7, I won't even be here because, as you know, I'm a Knicks fan too. So listen, I'm doing my best to make sure that we're able to do these post-fight shows. And by the way, guys, every time you join us, and that's big for us. We love doing these live shows and we do it for you. And we love the fact that you guys leave comments because interacting with you guys is probably the best part about doing this. Yes. So make sure to come rock out with us Friday night, possibly Saturday as well. And then Monday, we are going to be having a live show. Thank you for everyone that joined us on this Wednesday morning or afternoon. If you're on the East Coast, drop your comments, by the way, hit that like and subscribe button, and we will be back with you Friday night after one of the biggest nights in boxing. Brian, your last words.
Are you excited for June 14th? Richardson hit